Welcome. I didn't expect to be live, but here we are. Big news today. Too big for a short, I think. So I decided to do a quick show, a live show. Mm, Not super prepared for this, but it's a surprise. So, surprise show, surprise trade. As you know, if you haven't seen the news yet, Baker Mayfield was traded today to the Panthers from the Browns for a 2024 conditional fifth round pick. It's not clear what the split on the money is, but they've agreed to some sort of split. Trogdor says, "Can we get Jimmy out of San Francisco now?" Uh, we cannot. For now, I don't know. I mean, this. I had said for a while that I thought that Jimmy would go to the Panthers and Baker would end up on Seattle. Now, Jimmy, I think is going to end up getting cut and maybe then going to Seattle. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens for sure. Oh, 7 people in the live chat already. They're only paying 5 million. If you got a link, give me that in the chat. And if you're here, make sure to like the video, leave a comment in the chat, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel is very important. It helps me get to that 1,000 mark. So I really need that. So I appreciate it. Wow, we're really getting a lot of people in the chat today. But yeah. So let's talk about a few things. So, all right, I already see a question in the chat, so we'll get to that. A few things. So, gotta try to get this out there. All right. Okay, let's see here. Okay, it's a good question. Does this help DJ Moore at all or keep him around the same value? So I didn't really expect this to not happen. I always assumed that the Panthers were not going to proceed with their current quarterback. I had ranked DJ Moore as if it was going to be some combination of Baker or Jimmy. I would have preferred Jimmy, but if it has to be Baker, that's fine. That hasn't changed my value of DJ Moore. Maybe raises him a little bit in redraft, but not really. Not really. It's not a big change for him. He was, he is what he is, really. Not a big change. As for the other weapons, it changes nothing. It really changes nothing for anybody there in Carolina. Now, we'll do this live because, I wanted to just get on here quick. The news was quick. You want to be on quick. Look at these questions. So is Baker worth the 24 third in Superflex? I'm going to say, obviously, yes. He's worth at least the 23 second, if not a little bit more right now. Okay, so right now, Jimmy can be a 1-year rental in Cleveland. I think this is not impossible. If Deshaun Watson is suspended the whole year, I can see this as being possible. Keep an eye on it. DJ Moore toast? No, I don't think so. So Jarvis Landry wasn't toast with Baker. It's not everybody. So the way this is going to work now, let's look at redraft first. So I had Sam Darnold dead last among my quarterbacks. Dead last. I had him at 32. So now Baker Mayfield is the starter. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to rank Baker Mayfield that high. I mean, I have, to give you some of the lower names on the list, I have Jared Goff at 25, Davis Mills at 26, Carson Wentz at 27, Mitch Trubisky at 28, Mariota at 29. That's probably where Mayfield is going to come in, above Mariota. I'm really just not in on Mayfield. Yeah. Sam Darnold was last. I mean, that's where he belonged. See, I have Mayfield at 29 for now. Not super excited. So, uh, in again, doesn't really move Christian McCaffrey, barely moved DJ Moore. Really not much change. Didn't have any other Panthers really ranked, and I still won't. Um, yeah, this really, what it really changes now, of course, is the other quarterbacks on the Panthers roster. So at this point, I would say Baker Mayfield himself, he doesn't move up too much in my rankings. I would still have him in Dynasty. I have Carson Wentz at 28 and Jared Goff at 29, Baker Mayfield at 30. I'll still have Mayfield at 30, but I'll probably move him up a little bit in the overall rankings. Just because now he has a starting job. So, he's going to be right on the heels of Wentz and Goff. I think he's a similar proposition. If he plays really well this year, he'll retain a starting job for 2023. If he does not, then he will not. But I think he's a similar proposition to those players, kind of on his last legs here. So I'll put him right in that group with Mayfield and Goff. As for the other guys there, I mean, Sam Darnold at this point, I'd say loses a lot of value. Really, I think his career is as a relevant player is pretty much over. I don't anticipate him getting much of another chance. And I'd rather have Matt Corral over him, but Matt Corral is now going to be the third string quarterback this year. So, yeah, but he's going to be healthy. So Matt Corral is probably going to drop a couple of rounds of value. I just don't see it as... See, the path for him would be if he had actually gotten playing time this year, but that's a lot less likely now. They're probably going to stick with Baker Mayfield longer than they would have stuck, excuse me, with Sam Darnold. So Matt Corral moving down the rankings for me. Not super interested in him. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. And then, of course, there are some winners. Jacoby Brissett is a small winner, I would say, because, he now will actually, we know he'll actually start the games if, if Deshaun Watson is suspended. So Jacoby Brissett is a small winner, but they still could make a move for Jimmy Garoppolo. I wouldn't get carried away on Jacoby Brissett. And then not much changes for the Browns because I think most people, oh my God, progressive commercials. I don't know about that one. I don't know if we're going to get progressive commercials, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, this is a move I think a lot of people expected. I weren't sure if it was going to be Seattle, if it was going to be Carolina, but I think most people expected Baker Mayfield to be traded, as did I. I said on my show yesterday that I thought that Cleveland would attempt to repair the relationship with Baker Mayfield, but I did not think they would be successful in that. And clearly that is the case. They were unsuccessful in fixing that relationship. And they have decided to move on from Baker Mayfield before even knowing what the Deshaun Watson discipline will be. So clearly those were not related. At this point, again, it's not the biggest thing. At this point, I think really what's interesting now is Jimmy Garoppolo. Where does Jimmy Garoppolo go? I mean, the 49ers really going to trade him to Seattle? Okay, that's good. Do I think Darnold gets moved? I'd lean toward no. I think that nobody's going to want Darnold, but maybe the team that would want Darnold would be Cleveland. And I think they passed on him. They could have had him as part of the deal. They said no. So I don't think so. So yeah, it's kind of ugly. I mean, Darnold, I just think is done. Corral's lost some value. But yeah, Darnold is just someone I'm kind of done with. Not really chasing him. He's in like the Tyler Huntley tier of value for me at this point. And Huntley has fantasy upside, whereas Darnold doesn't really. It does give a little bit of value boost to Drew Lock and maybe Geno Smith because it took away the Baker option to be traded there. But that's, reading into it a lot. Again, this is Baker Mayfield fantasy wise is not a significant upgrade over Sam Darnold to some degree. But in terms of for the Panthers winning games, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. It's a pretty big upgrade. Darnold is so reckless with the football. I also think for Christian McCaffrey, this is better. Sam Darnold is more mobile than Baker Mayfield. We remember last year, Sam Darnold vultured a bunch of touchdowns from from Christian McCaffrey early on in the season. Baker Mayfield's not going to do that. This is great. Carolina plays the Browns week 1. That's going to be a game. Baker Mayfield's going to go and kick their ass. I mean, you know that. It's going to be against Jacoby Brissett. He's going to kick their ass. Right? I mean, we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. He's going to kick their ass. It's going to be funny. I do think, though, that'll be a game that's on the radar of everybody. For sure. 100%. All right. So, trying to think if there's anything else really to talk about. The Panthers were really Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore only before, and they're still Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore only now. Not much has changed. Maybe we know Robbie Anderson did not want to play with Baker Mayfield. So maybe Terrace Marshall is a little bit more of a sleeper than he was, but I'm not holding my breath. Yeah, I'm mostly interested to see now what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo now that what I thought his prime destination is gone. We can finally stop speculating about the Sam Darnold and Matt Corral situation because that's pretty much decided. And yeah, I do think it'll be interesting though. Matt Corral will get a chance to kind of sit on the bench and we'll see if he develops, but his chance at immediate playing time is gone, unfortunately. And then, on the Browns, again, no change. I don't think most people expected Baker to be back. So, I had already ranked with Brissett as the starter, and I, again, no changes yet. We will see. We will see. And last thing, I just assume, and I think this is a good assumption to make, that Baker Mayfield is just the starter. I don't anticipate any competition. I think Baker Mayfield is the starter. Sam Darnold's the backup, and Matt Corral is the third string. And that's, that's going to be how it is. So anyway, I appreciate everyone who tuned into this quick live stream. I know it was mostly just kind of my thoughts going out there. In summary, I have Baker Mayfield ranked as quarterback 29 in redraft. So the 30 in Dynasty. Not really in. And I guess you could pay a 23-second for him, but I barely even want to do that. I'm not buying. This is your sell window for Baker Mayfield. You can get a couple of 23 seconds. That would be what I would try to do. A couple of 23 seconds and just move on in Dynasty. Don't draft him in redraft. And yeah. So if you made it to the end of the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later on tonight's Scott Fishbowl draft. I know this was a surprise show. That's a surprise show. A lot of stuff coming out for me. 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, right here. We'll have a live Scott Fishbowl mock. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be like a 2-hour show. We're doing all 22 rounds, so it's gonna be very exciting. So I will see you all